All right, look, in the world of golf rangefinders, there is one brand that flies way under the radar much more than it should. It's been around for over a century. They're one of the original manufacturers of golf rangefinders, and they make some of the very best devices in the world. Yet the average person has not heard of them. What is it? Leupold Golf. So Leupold is similar to Bushnell in the sense that their main business is outdoor optics. So like hunting, binoculars, things that aren't necessarily golf. Yet Bushnell has put a ton of time and effort and marketing into their golf products, and Leupold, well, they haven't really done that as much. So what that leaves us with is 5 products that are currently on the market that are some of the very best rangefinders in golf, yet a lot of people are not familiar with them. Every once in a while, I will be in a group where someone has a Leupold rangefinder, and immediately everyone in the group starts going to that person for distances. That is how reliable these devices are. That is the type of reputation Leupold has. They are basically the cream of the crop when it comes to build quality and accuracy. So today, we're talking about the 5 different models that are currently on the market. They range from $199 up to $599. So if you've been in the market for Leupold, if you just want to learn a little bit more about them, if you're trying to decide which one is right for you, then that is what we're doing in today's video. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right down to it. So like I said, right now, there are currently 5 models in Leupold's lineup, and I've used all of them. For starters, we have the lowest level one, the PinCaddie 3. That is the only one with a somewhat normal name. From there, you go to the GX-2C, then the GX3C, then the GX5C, and then the GX6C. You would think they would differentiate a little bit better with their names, but well, here we are. So first off, before we talk about the specific devices, let's talk about Leupold in general, why you should consider one of these devices, what some of the hallmarks and some of the technology they have are that set these rangefinders apart from other ones in the market. So real quick, from the start, one thing I want to point out with Leupold, because this will be a deal breaker for some of you, is when they are investing in updates, when they're investing in technology, they are specifically focusing on the accuracy and the data and the numbers you are getting. So 2 things you are not going to find on any Leupold rangefinder as it currently sits is a magnet for attaching to your cart, or a vibration function. So when it locks onto the flag, you get that vibration, that jolt. They have that technology, they just do it audibly and they do it visually within the rangefinder, and it works really, really well. But if you're that tactile person that needs that jolt, or if you always riding carts and you have to have a rangefinder that sticks to your cart, you should probably look elsewhere because Leupold devices aren't going to provide that for you. But that said, they do pack a lot of technology into their devices, so let's talk about a few of the things that you will find in many of their rangefinders. One of the biggest ones is TGR, True Golf Range Technology. This is essentially just their slope feature. So what that means is if the hole is above you or the hole is below you, it's going to take that into account and it's going to give you a plays-like distance. One of the cool things about Leupold though, is it also factors in altitude and temperature. And so you can manually go in before you're around, you can adjust the altitude, you can adjust the temperature, and it is going to give you accurate numbers that take those things into account. And this filters down all the way to their second cheapest model. So normally to get that altitude and that temperature adjustment, you're gonna have to get a high-end Bushnell device for over $500. And with Leupold, you get that across most of the devices in their line. So if you're someone that relies on slope, then Leupold has some of the best slope calculations in the business. They also have flag lock and Prism lock technology. So flag lock is basically their technology that helps differentiate between trees in the background or building in the background and the flag itself to ensure you can easily lock onto it. Prism lock is for flag sticks that have those prisms, those glass prisms, to make it easier to range. And when it locks onto one of those, it will give you an audible vibration or a box around the reticle in the center of your viewfinder, depending on which model you have. And it works very, very well. Also, nearly every Leupold rangefinder uses what they call DNA technology, digitally enhanced accuracy. So essentially, this means they use digital processing, which results in less signal noise. So it's going to give you a more accurate result. I can't tell you if that actually works or not, but I can say their devices are super accurate. So if that's part of the algorithm, then great. Probably my favorite feature that Leupold has on every single rangefinder of theirs that is unique from any other brand is fog mode. So if you're playing in the fog, if you're playing in misty weather, if you're used to playing in adverse conditions, this is basically their special technology that can cut through the fog and still get you accurate laser readings to the flag. And in my experience, it has worked really well. Being from Portland, Oregon, where I play a lot of rounds like that, it's actually really useful technology, and I'm surprised that more rangefinder companies haven't done something similar. And finally, one more proprietary feature you're gonna find on most Leupold rangefinders, which is unique to them and pretty cool, is their club selector feature. So what you can do is you can take your iron distances, if you know them, and you can input them into the rangefinder. And so what they're gonna do is, using the laser number and using their slope calculations, which also factor in altitude and temperature, it is going to recommend which club you should use based on your current situation. So if you're someone that wants to minimize the technology you're using on the course, you don't want to use a fancy GPS watch, you don't want to use a swing analyzer system like Arcos Caddy, but you like the idea of getting club recommendations, then you're going to love their club selector feature because it actually works pretty well. So there's a bunch of other things that are incorporated into Leupold rangefinders, but rather than detail all of those, let's just talk about each of the 5 right now so you can figure out which one is right for you. Let's start with the cheapest. We'll work our way up to the most expensive. And also, I'm going to give prices that are MSRP. I have found right now, at least in January of 2023, that if you go to Amazon, a lot of these are quite a bit less than their retail price, which makes these a pretty killer bargain in many cases. So I will talk about what prices I'm seeing, and so that's hopefully going to give you a little bit of additional information and help you decide if you want to buy it or not. So first rangefinder we're going to be talking about, the PinCaddie 3. This is a bare bones basic rangefinder, but you know what? It does a great job. So all of the rangefinders across Leupold's line are very compact, and this is no different. This one definitely has a little bit of an aging look to it. It looks like, a Precision Pro NX7 or a device that is, maybe 4 or 5 years old. But here's what I love about this. The optics for a sub $200 rangefinder are very good. When you're looking into it, it's a minimalist viewfinder. You literally just have the reticle in the center and you have a yardage. That is all it gives you, and that is frankly all most people need. It is accurate, it is waterproof. All of the Leupold rangefinders are waterproof, so that's huge. This does use the older PinHunter 2 technology, which is the older version of their laser technology. All of the other ones we're going to talk about use PinHunter 3, and really I think a lot of that comes down to processing. So you'll notice this one's a little bit slower than all the other devices in Leupold's range, but also it's $199, and as we speak, currently, it's $170 on Amazon. So I think that might make this my best pick for under $200. You can get ones under 200 bucks that have more features. The Clear from Tech is one that I would definitely consider and recommend, but Leupold has better build quality. It has a better name. I think it's going to be more accurate than a lot of those. And while it doesn't have the features, if you're just looking for an accurate, well-built rangefinder from a good name, then you can do a lot worse than the PinCaddie 3. Okay, moving on, we've got the GX2C. And I think this is a little bit of a wild card in the Leupold lineup because all of the other GX ones look almost identical and have very similar features. This looks completely different. This looks more similar to the PinCaddie 3, but it has most of the features from all of the more expensive devices. So this has the slope system, the TGR system built in. This has fog mode. This has the club selector mode. It basically has most of the stuff you could want in a rangefinder, with the exception of the vibration and with the exception of a magnet. Like I said, with most Leupold models, it still will give you confirmation you've got flag lock. This one just does it visually, and all of the other more expensive GX ones do it visually and audibly, so you just don't get that vibration. But this retails for $329. So getting their very high quality slope mode, which factors in altitude and temperature, getting the club selector system, having fog mode, having it be very well built and waterproof, this is a pretty killer deal. I think this is probably your best bang for the buck in the entire Leupold lineup, especially considering right now it's like $250 on Amazon. So in that $250 price range, there's a lot of competition. You've got the Precision Pro NX9 and NX10. You have the Blue Tees Series 3 Max. Often you can find the Bushnell V5 on sale that's gonna creep down to $250. This has some features that those don't, and those have some features that this doesn't. So if a high quality slope mode, waterproofness, a name brand, the club selection features, the fog mode, if that's stuff you like, then I would definitely look at this because this is as good and as accurate as any of those. It just doesn't have some of the features that a lot of people have come to expect, like the vibration, like the magnet. And I'm gonna kind of keep harping on that because those are honestly the two biggest differentiators between all of Leupold's devices and some of the other ones that are out there. But for a lot of people, that's not gonna matter. Okay, now we're moving into the higher end Leupold models, and this is what most people are going to kind of think about when they're thinking of a Leupold Golf rangefinder. So the 3, the 5, the 6, they all pretty much look identical. They are very, very similar. And so when I first got all of these, I was like, what are the differences? I'm not sure what the differences are between all of these. The 3 retails for $449, the 5 retails for $499, and the 6 retails for $599. So let's talk about those differences and let's talk about why you would pick one over the other. So first off, I think these 3 in the GX line, I think are some of the best looking rangefinders in golf. They're super compact. They've got a very nice rubber texture with some cool chrome accents. If you're someone who values a smaller, more compact rangefinder, you know, the Bushnells, like the X3, that thing is massive. Like some of the Bushnells are getting very, very big. These are very svelte. They're among the smallest I have ever used, but they still feel very high quality. They've got some weight to them. They've got some heft to them. So as far as build quality goes, they're just as good as anything on the market. Okay, so the GX 3C, once you get into this model, you get a backlit red display, and the red display looks great. It is very, very legible. It looks very good. You can go into the settings and you can adjust it to one of 3 different brightness levels. So regardless of what your preference is, you're gonna be able to do that pretty easily. Here's the biggest difference between the 3 and the 5. So basically, the 3 is the exact same as the 5, except it doesn't have the built-in slope mode. So if you are a competitive golfer, if you are someone who plays in tournaments on a regular basis, or if you're someone who just never uses slope mode, then the 3 is going to probably be the best fit in this entire lineup for you. This is what I would probably say is like the ultimate player's rangefinder. If you are a top tier player, this is going to be a great device for you. It is accurate, it is fast, it is well built, it's gonna last freaking forever. This is an awesome device. But all that to say, if you're someone who does want the slope feature, then you might move up to the 5C. So the 5C has pretty much everything Leupold offers as far as technology goes, save for one thing, which we're going to talk about in the 6C. But there's a couple quick things I want to make note of with the 5. So when you look through the viewfinder, it has an excellent backlit red display that we talked about with the 3C. But I also talked about my affinity for smaller text, you know, more minimalist design when you're looking in the rangefinder. I don't want a ton of information. I don't want it to be cluttered. So when you're using this with slope mode on, you're going to get one number up top, and then you're going to get the other number on bottom. And it does that in fairly large text. So if you're someone that likes to use the scan mode and you want to scan the flag, maybe some trees, maybe a bunker lip, and you're going back and forth and doing that, the text is big enough that it can make it difficult to see all of those things. So I really wish the text in the rangefinder in the 5C was a little bit smaller. The display is pretty much the exact same in the 3C, but because the 3C doesn't have their TGR mode, the slope mode, it doesn't have that top number. So everything just feels quite a bit more legible. That said, if it was any other brand, the 5C would be their flagship model. It is fantastic. It retails for $500, so it's not cheap. Currently, I'm seeing it for under $400 on Amazon, which makes this a very compelling offer. Just like the 3, build quality excellent, nice rubber, great texture, great to use, feels good in the hand. This thing is bulletproof and is going to be a great pick for someone that's looking for a full-featured rangefinder. And finally, the top-of-the-line model in Leupold's lineup is the GX 6C. So if you're looking at this just at a glance, it looks almost identical to the 3 and the 5, but there are a couple subtle changes that you will notice if you're looking at them side by side. The 6 has everything we talked about in the 5 with 2 big improvements. So the major thing it has added is it adds image stabilization. So I've only used one other rangefinder that has true optical image stabilization built in, and that is the Nikon Coolshot Pro 2 Stabilized. And so it's pretty wild. When you're using it, you can kind of be going through, you're trying to find the flag, and as soon as you hit the range button, it will basically like freeze up and lock on the flag and give you an accurate distance. And so if you've got kind of shaky hands, if that's a concern for you, the image stabilization really is very nice. That being said, Leupold's technology is so good when it comes to flag lock and prism lock and getting you accurate distances, even for flags that are 250, 300 plus yards out. I don't think most people are going to have issues getting the flag to lock on accurately. I certainly have had no issues with that. That being said, if you're going to say you can have image stabilization or not have image stabilization, I'll take the image stabilization all day. It's a really cool feature. The second thing that they improved on this is that display that I talked about. The 5C, which had numbers that I thought were a little bit too big, that is adjusted in the 6C. Everything's a little bit smaller. Everything is a little bit more legible. It just fits better to my eye and is more enjoyable to use as far as I'm concerned. So the 6C retails for $599, but I've seen it on Amazon for right around $500. So $500 for everything that this includes is a pretty killer deal. That's $100 less than the Pro XE. This thing is a fraction of the size of the Bushnell Pro XE. Again, it doesn't have the magnet, it doesn't have the vibration function, but it has fog mode, it has really, really high-end lasers, is very accurate, and it has the image stabilization as well. So that's a quick rundown of the differences between each of the 5 models in Leupold's lineup. Regardless of if you were looking for a budget device, a mid-tier device, or a premium device, there's going to be a good one for you. I will say there's a couple things that you should just kind of keep in mind when it comes to Leupold that I think are worth mentioning. The first, one of the coolest features that comes in this GX system is you can actually select from a different type of reticle in the viewfinder. So normally you get what you get. Maybe it'll be just a little circle. With these, there's over half a dozen. It's like if you like a circle, a triangle, if you like some lines around it, it gives you options, which is really kind of cool. It allows you to pick the thing that's most suitable for you, that's going to allow you to most easily use the rangefinder, get the distances you want, and use it in the way that you prefer. I've never seen that in another brand before, and is a pretty cool addition. Another thing I found across this entire line is that the viewfinder, the glass itself, it feels a little bit on the dark side. It almost feels like the lenses are polarized, or like the lens has like sunglass tint to it. This is great if you were playing in bright sunlight, but if you're playing on an overcast day, or if it's cloudy, if you're using the fog mode, things can just feel a little bit darker than they might on a different brand. So really, that's neither here nor there. It's kind of personal preference. It's just something that I noticed. Okay, field of view. So all of the Leupold rangefinders have a 6x magnification. Some other devices out there have a 7x magnification. And so when you're looking through the device, if it's a 7x, it really just kind of makes it feel like the optical lens is bigger compared to some of the ones that have 6x. So unless you're comparing them side by side, you probably wouldn't notice a difference. But I have found that I personally do like the devices that have 7x if I'm given the choice. Slope and menu systems. So the menu system, once you've used it a few times, it's pretty easy to use, but there's only kind of one button up top. So sometimes you have to just kind of keep going through. There's no like back button. So if you're trying to set the temperature, you have to kind of go 75, 80, 85, 90, all the way through. And if you want to get to something lower than that, you just have to keep going up until like 140 when it resets back down to a lower temperature. So the menu system inside, it works well, but it's going to take you a little bit of getting used to using that user interface. And when it comes to slope, most products these days that offer a slope mode will have some sort of exterior way to turn it on or off. This makes it really easy to do if you're in a tournament. It makes it really easy to see if the slope mode is on or off so that you don't accidentally get yourself in trouble when you're going into a tournament. With Leupold and all their devices that have the TGR slope function, the only way to turn it off is to go into the menu system. So this can be a little bit cumbersome. It can sometimes lead to it having it on when you think it's off. And so if you're a tournament player, that's just something to keep in mind. But that's also why I think the GX3C, the one that doesn't have slope but has just about everything else, is a great option for most tournament players. So there you go. That is my introduction to all of the Leupold Golf rangefinders that are currently on the market. There is not a bad choice. If you're looking for a solid budget rangefinder, the PinCaddie 3 is great. If you're looking for a solid mid-tier option, the GX2C is great. If you're looking for a premier rangefinder, any of the 3, 5, or 6 are going to be awesome. So whether or not Leupold rangefinder is right for you really comes down to your personal priorities. Do you prioritize build quality, great feeling in the hand, a compact size, excellent laser accuracy, excellent slope mode, a fog mode? If all of those things are a priority for you, then Leupold is going to be an awesome choice, and I would highly recommend picking one up. But if you're someone who likes a bigger size rangefinder, if you're someone that likes some of the manual switches for slope mode, if you're someone that needs the magnet or needs the vibration, then these may not be as good of a fit for you. So I hope this video has been useful. I hope that it has helped you figure out if Leupold is going to be right for you. We're going to be doing dedicated reviews of all 5 of of these rangefinders over the course of the coming months. We'll also be comparing them to some of the biggest competing products in each of their price ranges. So if you have questions, if there's things you want to know, if there's things I have missed, drop a comment below, let me know, and I will make sure we get it covered in our individual reviews. My name is Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at PinCaddie, where we review cool golf tech products and cool golf courses. If that is valuable to you, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we got a new video. So also head over to breaking80.com/hi, get on our email list. We send like 1 or 2 emails a week with all of our latest course and product reviews. So if you want to make sure you don't miss anything we got, that's the best way to do it. I hope you have an excellent day. Let me know again if you have any questions about any of these Leupold rangefinders we got here, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.